Welcome to the virtual race brief for the Yr Wyddfa Snowdon Ultra, 50 and 100 mile. My name is Drinkwater and I am the event director at GB Ultras, and today we're just going to cover some of the key points that you may need to know for the race. The 50 and 100 mile events are circular events which share the same start and finish location and are taking some of the incredible mountain trails of the Erie Snowdonia National Park. It's with the kind permissions of the Snowdonia National Park, Natural Resources Wales, the National Trust and other landowners that our participants have the opportunity to take part in the race. Both the 50 and 100 mile follow dedicated mountain trails, and the event is considered to be a navigation event, and as such is by application only to ensure that all participants are vetted and are experienced in the mountains and ultramarathon events. The start location, race registration and the finish location is based at Betws-y-Coed, Village Green. Long stay car parking is available and it is pay and display. Race registration is available on a Friday prior to the event from 5:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. or alternatively on race day morning from 4:15 a.m. until 5:30 a.m. The 100 mile race starts at 6 a.m. and the 50 mile race will start at 6:15 a.m. subject to pre-race safety protocols. When you collect your GB race tracker race registration on the Saturday morning of the event, it is already switched on, so all you have to do is securely fasten it to your pack. There is a Velcro fastener on the rear of the tracker which allows you to securely fasten a tracker to your shoulder strap or the back. Please note that the tracking is updated at 2-minute intervals if there is GPS signal. In the mountains, this may be impacted. Please ensure that you hand your tracker back to the event team at the finish line of the event. Alternatively, if you decide not to continue during the race, please ensure that you hand your tracker back to the event team at a checkpoint. The GPX is available to download off the GB Ultras website for the event. Please note that the GPX is only a guide, so when you download it off the website, sometimes it optimizes when it's downloaded onto your watch or your device, so it means that it drops some of the points, so therefore it should only be considered to be a guide only. There are no drop bags for the 50 mile event, but the 100 mile you are more than welcome to have a drop bag at checkpoint 6 at Betws-y-Coed and also at checkpoint 9 at Betws-y-Coed Community Hall. The drop bag can be a change of kit, maybe some extra supplies, extra nutrition, something along those lines. When you've collected your race number at race registration, you'll be able to collect your drop bag labels. You can securely fasten them to your drop bags. Your drop bag is identified by your unique bib number for the race. If you have pre-ordered one of the GB Ultras technical t-shirts for the event, you can pick that up at race registration along with having a look at some of the other merchandise that we have available. As soon as the race starts, you'll be joining on to the Snowdonia Slate Trail. The Snowdonia Slate Trail is one of the Snowdonia National Park's official trails, so it's really well marked. The Snowdonia Slate Trail will take you to checkpoint 1 and to the base of Tryfan. As you leave checkpoint 1 and leave the Snowdonia Slate Trail behind you, you'll join onto the mountain trails. The first section of the route is on the heather terrace of Tryfan. Our Tryfan mountain team will be deployed to ensure that you take the low-level section in the event of poor weather conditions. After the heather terrace, you'll then join onto the miners track, which will take you down to the base of Penny Pass, where you'll find checkpoint 2. Leaving checkpoint 2, you'll lead onto the miners track again, and you'll ascend to the summit of Yr Wyddfa Snowdon via the pig track. Mountain Team 2 will be deployed on trails leading to the summit as well as on the descent. You'll ascend Snowdon via the pig track, and you'll see the mountain team which is deployed there to support you just in case you need any help. After summiting Snowdon, you will then retrace your footsteps and descend via the miners track. Checkpoint 3 is in exactly the same position as checkpoint 2, and you'll head back up to the mountain trails to go on the glidders. A further mountain team 3, will be deployed on the glidders to ensure that we action a low-level route if deemed necessary by our race HQ. After descending the glidders, you'll reach checkpoint 4, Ogwen Cottage, and you'll rejoin the Snowdonia Slate Trail, which again is really well marked. Once you've joined back onto the Snowdonia Slate Trail, you'll then be heading over to Lynn-Craft-Nant for a slight detour off the Slate Trail for the checkpoint 5 of the race. The finish line is at 50 miles, and that's at Betws-y-Coed Village Green, the same as the start location. This is also the halfway for the 100 mile event. For those taking on the 100 mile, you'll then leave that checkpoint location and rejoin the Snowdonia Slate Trail as it weaves through the Snowdonia National Park. Particularly as you pass through farmland, please ensure that you follow the countryside code and close gates behind you. Please note that if you are signed up for the 100 mile race, you can't then change over to the 50 mile because you're tired. Okay, you've signed up for that particular event, so we've only ordered X amount of medals and X amounts of buckles for that. So you can't swap mid-race. If you want to swap before the race, we need at least 3 weeks' notice to do so. In the lead up to the race, please ensure that you look over the mandatory kit video, which is being done by Laura Yates, one of the race director team at GB Ultras. The mandatory kit is the minimum standard kit that you must carry for the race itself. If you want to carry anything extra, for example, a first aid kit, by all means feel free to do so. But this is the minimum standard kit, the safety kit that we need you to carry at all times during this ultramarathon. The weather conditions can change quite rapidly, particularly in the mountains during the race, so please bear that in mind. This is why the mandatory kit is there, for your own safety and because of the changeable conditions in the mountains. Random kit checks will take place during the event and also potentially at the finish line. If you are found not to be carrying any of the mandatory kit for the race, you could be disqualified or there may well be time penalties imposed. In the event of a severe weather warning during one of our mountain races, we have dedicated mountain teams in place, so we may well action a low-level route prior to the race start or during the race by our mountain teams. All of our mountain team personnel wear a high-vis vest and they have a VHF two-way radio so they can communicate with one another. So if there's an incident and you're on the scene, please just let one of our nearest marshals know. If there are any diversions in the lead up to the race, we will let participants know via email and issue a new GPX for the race. The diversions sometimes are essential works deemed necessary by the local authority or the landowner. It is out of our hands, but we will ensure any diversion is suitably marked if needed. During the event, it's important that we all play our part to respect the environment that we're in. During an ultramarathon, you'll be eating on the move, so any snacks, any litter that you have during the race, please make sure that it's secure in a dedicated pocket in your pack. Please ensure that if you're using that pocket for anything else, maybe your mobile phone, that you don't drop any litter out of your pocket when you take your phone out. So maybe just use a dedicated area of your pack. Make sure that when you come into a checkpoint that you unload all of that litter so it reduces the risk of any litter going on the route. On the 50 mile event, you are not allowed a pacer. That is somebody that is not entered into the race but is running beside you for any stretch of the 50 mile. On the 100 mile event, you are allowed a pacer from 50 mile onwards. This should only be one pacer at any one time and they cannot be carrying any of your mandatory kit for you. They can carry other things that you might need, an extra base layer or anything like that, but all of your mandatory kit has to stay on your back or on your person. If you decide to have somebody that runs 10 miles with you from 50 to 60 miles, that's absolutely fine. And then you can change your pacer for the next 20 miles and then it's somebody else if you wish. Checkpoint locations for the Yr Wyddfa Snowdon Ultra, 50 and 100 mile. Mileages at checkpoint locations are approximate only. Checkpoint 1 is at 9 miles into the race and that's at Gwern Goff ISAF. No support crews are permitted as it's a third-party campsite. Checkpoint 2 is at approximately 13 miles into the race and that's at the base of Penny Pass. Support crews are welcome. Please advise them that it is pay and display parking and you need to bring some change if you wish to park there. After summiting Yr Wyddfa Snowdon, you'll then make your way back to the same location as Checkpoint 2. It's now Checkpoint 3 and 23 miles into the race. Support crews are welcome. Checkpoint 4 is at 28 miles approximately and that's at Ogwen Cottage. Support crews are welcome, but please bear in mind that parking is very limited at this location. They may need to park further up the road and walk down to the checkpoint. Please advise support crews to park sensibly. Checkpoint 5 is at approximately 38 miles into the race and that's at Lynn Crafton Car Park. Support crews are welcome. The finish line for the 50 mile events and checkpoint 6 for the 100 mile events is at Betws-y-Coed Village Green. Support crews are welcome. Please ask them to be mindful of the late hour arriving here and be careful not to disturb the local community. For those continuing on a 100 mile race, checkpoint 7 is at 64 miles and that is at Newad Festiniog Village Hall. Please bear in mind that it's a late hour so support crews are welcome, but just be mindful of the local residents. Checkpoint 8 on a 100 mile race is at 76 miles and that's at Cressor Car Park and it's an outdoor checkpoint. Support crews are welcome, but again just be mindful of local residents. Checkpoint 9 is at Betws-y-Coed Community Hall, and that's at approximately 81 miles into the race. Support crews are welcome, but there is very limited parking, so you'll have to use one of the local pay and display car parks that are in the vicinity. Checkpoint 10 is at 90 miles approximately, and that's at the Pavilion at Dolwoodland. The finish line is at Betws-y-Coed Village Green for the 100-mile race. Each of the checkpoint locations will have a range of food as well as hydration available. If it's an indoor checkpoint on the 100-mile, you'll also have hot food available. Please respect any support crew restrictions that we might have in place. We might say that there is limited parking available at a certain checkpoint, which means that support crews are not permitted. If support crews are permitted but there is no obvious parking space, please do not park your car blocking roads, pathways or driveways. There is a 20-hour cutoff for the 50-mile event, and there is a 42-hour cutoff for the 100-mile. This leads on to the emergency instructions for the event. If there is a minor injury, please let a checkpoint, a marshal or race HQ know. During the event, we have our own dedicated medical teams in place at checkpoints and mountain response teams positioned in hard-to-reach places. Our team will endeavour to help as soon as we can, and should be your first point of call in the event of an incident that is not a danger to life or limb. Only in emergency where there's a risk to life or limb, please follow these instructions. Number 1, put on any spare clothing and use your thermal survival bag or thermal bivy bag to keep you warm. Number 2, trigger the SOS button on the front of your tracker. On the front of the tracker, just underneath the race tracker logo, there is an SOS button. Hold it down for approximately 3 seconds and that will alert Race HQ. Please note that is no substitute to speaking to Race HQ on the phone. Number 3, if there is a risk to life or limb and you're at a checkpoint, please call 999 and ask for an ambulance. If there is a risk to life or limb and you're on the mountains, then you'll need to call 999 and ask for the police and mountain rescue. Number 4, inform Race HQ by calling the numbers for Race HQ that have been saved on your phone. Number 5, attract the attention of fellow participants or passers-by by using your whistle or shouting. This completes the emergency instructions for the event. If you have any questions in the lead up to the race, please don't hesitate to email the team at events@gbultras.com. If it is race week, we can't guarantee a reply. This completes the virtual race brief for the Yr Wyddfa Snowdon Ultra 50 and 100-mile race. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in Snowdonia.